Hi, this is Mary Ellen with Portraits of Me, and I'm recording a second video in one day. I've never really done this before, so that's why I'm in the same outfit if you've seen my previous video. I'm not sure which one's going to go up first. Anyway, today I am doing a tag video. I was tagged by Laura from Bookie Laura to do the Beauty and the Beast book tag, and so here I am, ready to answer those questions. I'm going to put her link below in the video description box, so make sure you check out her video and see what answers she gave to these questions. I will also include the originator's link in my description box below as well. She actually tagged me, I think last month, but these questions were kind of hard, and it was really hard to find these books in the mess that is my life right now. Half my book collection is still packed away, so I don't have all the physical books with me. I will put the pictures of some of the books here that I'm going to use to answer these questions. So let's get to the questions. I do have them all written down, so I'll be reading them. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm reading the questions. Okay, so the first question is, oh, what a guy, Gaston, a villain you can't help but love. Now that one was kind of a tough one, but I did find a villain that I just absolutely love, and that is Khan from the Star Trek series. So this is Khan from the Star Trek series. Luckily, we have some novels written about his past, but you would originally see this villain on the original series in the 1960s. He was in the episode Space Seed. He was also featured in a Star Trek movie, The Wrath of Khan. So this series right here is the beginning of the villain. So it's kind of going over when he was a child, when he grew up, when he tried to take over the world, and then when he was exiled. So this is a really good series. If you're into Star Trek, check it out. If you're not into Star Trek but would like to read about engineered superhumans, this just might be the series for you. So let's go to question number 2. Here's where she meets Prince Charming, your OTP. And for this one, I picked the book, The Time Traveler's Wife. And the reason why I picked this book was because the main character is a man and he time travels. He doesn't have control over his ability to time travel, so he ends up in different stages of this young lady's life that ends up being his wife. And so he sees her when she's a youngster, when she's in her teens, when she's in her 20s, 30s, and so on and so forth. And he did end up marrying her. So it's their love story. And I think that if this love can survive time travel, it ought to be the answer to that question, right? So this is my OTP. Let's go to question number 3. I want much more than this provincial life, a character who's destined for greater things. And in this one I picked The Apprentice Witch because the main character, Erwin, is such a joy to read about. And she is very underestimated in this book by the other characters. She's considered a failure, and this story kind of blossoms into what she can really do, and it gives her that confidence that she needs to do it. And it's a very interesting story, and so this is the answer to question number 3. Question number 4. Be Our Guest, a book that made you hungry. Now this one was really hard because books don't tend to make me feel hungry, and the only thing I could think of was a cookbook, the Betty Crocker cookbook, but that would be cheating. So I found 2 books on my shelves that kind of answered this one, and they are The Fasting Girl and Before We Kill and Eat You. Both of them are about eating, and so I picked both of these. The Fasting Girl is based on a true story of the Victorian era girl named Molly who didn't eat and was able to survive a couple of weeks of fasting. And then when she did eat, she ate very minimal food where normally your body couldn't cope. So it's the mystery surrounding her fasting. I think it was actually some decades that she did this. And the second book is actually based on a true story as well. It's about some missionaries who go to Africa to minister to a tribe there that was known for its cannibalism. So it's their story about that. So those are the 2 books that I picked for that category. although neither of them really made me hungry. And let's go to the next question, question number 5. Beauty and the Beast, opposites attract. For this one, I actually don't have the physical book, so I'll put a picture here of the cover. And the book I picked for this is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, because it tells the wonderful love story of two characters that normally wouldn't end up in a relationship. You have the gentleman who is a farmer, hardworking American. The girl you have is a prostitute. And they come together, and he falls in love with her and tries and marries her, and she doesn't feel worthy of his love. She tries to leave a couple of times, but he always finds her and brings her back to show that he really cares about her, that he does want to stay married to her, and that he does love her. So it's a beautiful love story between the two characters. You wouldn't normally see them coming together, but they do in this book. Let's go to the next question. I think it's question number 6. It is. But there's something in him that I simply didn't see, a character who's more than they appear. Now, this is another book that I don't have the physical copy with me at this time, but the book is The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and I'll put a copy here of the cover. And this one is a really good book. It's actually a book I was totally surprised about, because when I read the synopsis, it sounded different than what it actually was. But the main girl character, I don't have her name because I don't have the physical book and I have a terrible memory, but the main character is a teenage girl, and she is more than what she appears. She's not your typical teenager, and the story is very interesting, and I enjoyed it a lot as I discovered her secret. And question number 7. I was innocent and certain, now I'm wiser but unsure. A book that changed you in some way. The book I picked for that one is God in a Manger. This book is by John MacArthur, and he tells the story of Christ's birth. So it takes you through when Mary is told she would become pregnant, all the way through her pregnancy to the birth of Jesus. And I love this book, and I read this book every year to remind me the true meaning of Christmas, because sometimes the holiday season can get so convoluted with buying gifts, making treats, decorating, all that stuff. And so I like to remind myself by reading this book, and it always changes my perspective on the holiday, makes me actually enjoy the holiday more, because I'm remembering the real reason why we're celebrating Christmas. So that's the answer to that one. And I think this is the last question. Oh, second to the last question. Kill the Beast, a book you picked up because of the hype. And I've actually picked up a lot of books since I've joined BookTube, watching everybody's videos of their book hauls and reviews. But the latest one I purchased was Red Queen. So I actually purchased this book and the next book in the series. I haven't read this yet, but these are the books I purchased because of the hype on BookTube. And the last question is, I'll Never Shake Away the Pain, a book or moment that always makes you cry. I have actually 2 books I want to share with you on this one. The first book I want to share is the first book that made me cry ever, and that book is The Robe by Lloyd C. Douglas. This book takes you on a tale of a Roman soldier who witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus. And he actually won the robe that they used when they're throwing dice and gambling for his garments. He actually won the robe, and it's his story about trying to find out if they really did crucify the Messiah. And it's a great story. The ending had me in tears. It really touched my heartstrings. And so this was the first book that actually made me cry. The second book I want to share, I actually don't have a physical copy, but I'll put a picture here, and that is The Waiting. And this book I actually listened to on audio CD. I was at work when I listened to it, so when it came to the part that made me cry, it was kind of embarrassing because I was at work and I was listening to it, and it got to that moment where I was so full of emotion that I was trying to stifle my cry, and instead I made that weird gulping sound. And then after that I was like looking around, making sure no one heard me, and then I tried to think about something else to get me out of that sensitive crying stage. But this book is really, really good. I highly recommend this book. It's a true story about a young woman who was raped when she was 14 or 15. And this was like in the 1920s or 30s. And it's her story about that experience, giving birth, and then giving her daughter away for adoption. And it's that whole life story of how she dealt with that. And it's such an emotional roller coaster, but it's a really good book, and it will make you cry, because it made me cry. It was actually such a really good book that I do want to get the physical book copy instead of just the audio, and that way I can read it as a book in book form. So that's it. Those are all the questions for the Beauty and the Beast tag. I hope you enjoyed my answers to them. Now the last thing I need to do is tag some people. So I have 3 people that I want to tag to do this Beauty and the Beast tag. The first one is Romance Queen of Booktube. I recently discovered her channel, and although I don't read romance very often, I do like to watch her videos and get some tips on romance novels, because sometimes you are in the mood for a good romance. And I think she would do really well with these questions, because the questions kind of are about relationships. Plus, when I looked at her About Me on her YouTube channel, she actually had a picture of Beauty and the Beast as her header, so I think it's a nice pairing. So, Romance Queen of Booktube, consider yourself tagged to do this Beauty and the Beast tag. The second person I would like to tag is Jessie Dawn, because she reads a lot of Christian fiction books that have to deal with romance as well, and I think she would give some great answers to these questions. So Jessie Dawn, I'm tagging you to do the Beauty and the Beast tag. And the third person I'm tagging is Edshara, because she recently tagged me in a video, so I'm tagging her back. Plus, I know she loves Disney because I saw her nerdy post unboxing the Disney box and how excited she was to receive that. So Edshara, I'm tagging you as well. And that's it, you guys. That's my video for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and do some commenting below. I would love to start a conversation with you. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.